I had gone to their librarian, sweet-talked that librarian moments before, got a brand new 2004 copy of the Income Tax Act. Put that down, said, is that what you're talking about? She looked at it, looked at the date, went, where did you get that? I said, oh, I have my sources. Is that what you're talking about? And she went, well, what does that word right there mean? Pointing out the word act. She looks at it, she went, I don't have to answer any of your questions. I reached into my little briefcase. I grabbed one of their pamphlets. Right on page 6, it says, your right to clear, complete, and accurate information. I said, look at that. It tells me I have a right to clear, complete, and accurate information. Wow, that tells me I have a right to ask questions, and you have a duty to answer them. There's 2,566 pages in this Income Tax Act. I'm pretty sure I can come up with 10 questions per page. When do we start? She looked at me like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because the government stole my baby. She said, well, that's not us. I said, it was people just like you. I mean, and where do you think they get their money from? So let's start. I got some questions. She's like, but. She started to get upset. I said, listen, you don't have time for this. I'll call you back in a week. You read the preamble of that act to me, and I'll accept that I have an obligation. If you can't read that to me, we are going to start asking some questions, and you're going to answer all of them. I call her back a week later. The poor girl is in tears. She's crying. She's, I'm getting in trouble for asking about the preamble. They're telling, I just want to help people get as much back from their taxes as possible, and I don't even know where to ask anymore. I felt pretty bad for the poor woman, eh? I said, look, here, you got my file open there. She opens it up. Yeah, it's right here. I said, did Mary Sinclair put in there that she informed me of an obligation? No, there's nothing here. Okay, here. You put in my file that I agree never to seek information from you, and you agree never to seek information from me, and we're done. Okay, I'll put that in your file. Haven't tried talking to me since.
Did you get your check?
No, I had to give up my $2,500, but I figure that's better. I'd rather have, let them keep their money. I don't want it, for the most part. And it's all about once you start thinking free in order to become free, you start not having the answers, but having the questions. It's all about having the proper question. A couple summers ago, I was doing stand-up comedy. I wanted to find a place where I could do some. There was a place called Here on Earth. It was an after-hours club. They were selling beer. They let people smoke pot. The government didn't like that too much, eh? No license or anything. I call them up. They said, well, we're shutting down. We're sitting here contemplating shutting down. Liquor Control Board shut us down last 4 weekends running. We're running out of money. I'm like, I'll be right down there. I get down there, look through their Liquor Control Act, wrote a letter, sent it off, said open up next weekend. We opened up next weekend, liquor control inspectors out in the alley. They have no power over unlicensed establishments, none whatsoever. I pointed that out to them. So they came with the property use. They put a notice right on the door. Notice this. I ripped it right down, wrote on the back, notice this. Gave it back to them. They came back next with, first it was property use, then business bylaw. Where's your business license? You have no notice. Here, now I do. Notice this. Then they came back with the fire department. Fire department, we love you. You're going to keep us safe. Come on. Hey, how much is this going to cost us? They're like, oh, no, they're paying for it. Okay, just we don't want any contract with you, or we'll pay for it, but don't go hooping us. The marshal, he came in, replaced that one exit light. He ends up, he's in the alley, and he's telling the guy, I'm not getting involved in your politics. It's safe, and that's it. He walks off. Took me 4 weeks. I got the police officers to a point where they would come to the door, knock on the door, identify themselves as peace officers. We would invite them in merely to keep the peace. They would do a little walk around, then they leave. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, officers. Have a great day. People thought I was paying off the cops. All I was doing was educating them, asking them the right questions. And at one point, while I'm in this process, a squad car comes up. I'm in the alley. I'm having a smoke. And squad car comes up, says, what's happening in there? I said, oh, it's a celebration of life. And they said, well, do you have a permit for that? I said, we need a permit to celebrate life? The guy, it was a girl driving and then a guy in the other thing, and she says, well, people are breaking the law in there. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, they're smoking pot. We have reports that they're smoking pot in there. I said, so? I said, that's against the law. What law? the Controlled Drugs and Substance Act. I'm like, the Controlled Drugs and Substance Act is a statute. You're failing to distinguish between statute and law. That's gross negligence. It's equaling to fraud. When your actions interfere with my rights or my comfort, you're being a nuisance, and that's an offense under Section 1. Okay, see ya. Come back later. You start pointing out the things, as long as you're treating them with a certain amount of dignity because you are recognizing them as human beings, they don't care. They've got better things to do than to try to be your master and to get you into the position of slave. Do we have a little film?
Ready?
Okay, folks, what's your name there?
Nicholas.
Nicholas, you're a Canadian?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you've heard of the Income Tax Act?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to show you a piece of paper, and on that paper is Section 238, subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act. Okay. It's one of your laws. This is what the government can use. I want you to read that and tell me whether or not you understand it.
Okay. Every person who has failed to file or make a return as and when required by or under this Act or a regulation, or who has failed to comply with subsection 116 brackets 3, comma, 127 brackets 3.1, or 127 brackets 3.2, comma, 147.1, comma, or bracket 7, or 153 brackets 1, comma, any of sections 230. See, already this shit is garbage. 230 to 232, or a regulation made under subsection 147.1 brackets 18, or with an order made under subsection 238 brackets 2 is guilty of an offense and, comma, in addition to any penalty otherwise provided, comma, is liable on summary conviction to A, a fine of not less than $1,000 and not more than $200 or $25,000, or B, both the fine described in paragraph 238 brackets 1A, an imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 months.
Let me ask you this now, Nicholas.
Okay.
Do you understand what you just read?
Look how long this thing is. You see how long it takes me to read this garbage? This here is garbage.
Is that your law?
Did I make this law?
Yeah.
Should I be expected to comply with this kind of thing?
So do you understand it?
No.
Here, does this help? That's a diagram.
Of what I'm looking at there?
Yeah, hold that up to the camera.
Good luck, boss.
And
how is this meant to be explaining anything? How anybody supposed to realize what this is? Unless them have X amount of thousands of hours in law. Like, come on. What is this?
So basically 238.1 is